Okay, 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 okay. Okay, okay. Do y'all know who that is? This is the Copeland from the Couch Conversation. Steve Copeland from the Couch Conversation. Steve Copeland from the Couch Conversation. So, boogity, 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 boom. Steve Copeland from the Couch Conversation. Steve Copeland from the Couch Conversation. Steve Copeland from the Couch Conversation Show. So y'all know, boogity, 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 boo. What's up, family? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? My 12 step spiritual program. What I put in one of my clips, right? The Couch Talk Show. Be More Team Talk Show. Do y'all notice? There's more shows out there for grown-ups to express where they at and how they feel. But it's not for the youth. A lot of them are not created for the youth. I have children. I have grandchildren. I became a foster care provider. I mentored young men. So basically, what is you saying, Mr. Copeland? Their lives are very important too. Let it sink in. We can create all these shows for adult conversations, but a lot of y'all don't want to look at the youth. Know why? Because you was once one. And you're dealing with a lot of childhood trauma yourself that you're running from. And things happened to you when you was much younger and you didn't know how to express yourself. Even though a lot of us taught our kids or our children morals, values, and principles. And I'm going to share this too. I have brothers. I have uncles. I didn't let a lot of males around my girls. And you still have to watch out for some of the women around your boys. Come on, let's keep it real. That's what my talk show is about. Keeping life real. I ain't one of them ones that you can come up on his platform and talk a bunch of phony, fake bull junk because y'all don't want to hear nothing about life. That's not real. That is not real. And then we'll create, as a content creator, I don't do it. We'll create topics to keep us at each other's throat. But we'll turn around and say, the white man. No, it's us. And I started seeing that. It's us that destroys us. But then we quick to say the white man. It's to throw it off of us while we are destroying us. My goal is solutions towards the problems that we're facing. That's why I became a community activist. That's why I became a community organizer. It's all about community. A lot of y'all don't face these people that we know that's not all YT that's setting us up for failure. And that's why I be honest with y'all. When I realize you are like that, I don't want you near me. I used to didn't see this when I was living that street life. You could not tell me what I was doing was wrong. What's up, Unc? And I'm poisoning the community. I'm tearing my community apart. Even though we did certain things to build, but I was tearing it apart. Now I can talk about me, talk about you. You're afraid to talk about you. Know why I can talk about me? Because God had me take a good, deep look at me, not man. Okay? That's why I started. Strengthen the community. That's why I started the LaTanya D. Copeland House of Hope. It's all about building back up in the marginalized Black communities. I don't just talk. That's what our politicians can tell you about Steve Copeland in Baltimore City. He's about solutions. And if you're about solutions, you'll understand where Big Unc coming from. But you can't, because you're not about coming up with ways and means to help your people prosper and live a healthier, better way of life. But you can come up with certain platforms where you can have each other hating each other. Why do men this and that towards women? Why do women this and that towards men? All right, ring, come on in. Let's start it. Bing, bing. And you think you're doing something. You're no different than YT. Screwing your own people. Send me a galaxy. Send me a mansion. I dropped such and such and such. That's why I be honest with y'all. I have to stick to what God called me to do. No matter how much I want to play games. I want to rob the poor to fatten up my pocket. I'm no different than y'all. I just don't do it. That's the difference. You think people like myself can't see this? And then I'm sitting back, right? Me and my business partner was talking. And I was talking about the white box truck, 16-footer. I told him I want a 28-footer. I said the same way that was given to me, I got to go to these places that have trucks like that abundantly, that might have them on sale, and will donate some to nonprofits that's doing work in the community. I drove the tractor trailer, so I know a lot of companies out there. I'm not just talking. I can get donations from all over. I'm just not talking. Look at my stuff. Food, clothing, furniture. Get it donated to me to give back to the community. Yes, my ego is big. Yes, my pride is big. Yes, my confidence is huge. Because sometimes I got to humble myself to go beg people for people to help people in the city, and y'all don't even catch it. I have to humble myself to go to these businesses and let them know what Steve Copeland do back in the community to get help for the people in the community. But y'all want to look at me, oh, it's his pride, it's his ego, it's his confidence, it's his courage. Why can't you say that? because you ain't got the balls to stand up and do what I do. I already know that. Then you sit down with the politicians, right? How many of y'all sit with our lawmakers, the politicians, the police department? And I'm talking about like the commissioner. When you do stuff like I do in the community, you have to get to know these people, so you know who to communicate with. You got to have your ducks in a row. So today, basically, when I open up my mouth, keep in mind, it takes a lot of courage and confidence to go against the grain. This is what I was telling my business partner. Now, I got a few business partners. I'm talking about people that's doing, he worked with mostly the men. I work basically with the women and children, but I help any and everybody. It doesn't matter. Whether you disabled, whether you're married. Now, the only thing I am not, if a woman come to me and she asks me for help and her boyfriend with her, he's not coming in the housing program. He's not, because my goal is to help her and the kids. Why you got a man there and your man ain't helping you move forward? I don't question that, but I let him know this. He cannot come, because he should be providing for his family. If he was providing, for his children and his girl, she should not be dependent on outside resources. Do y'all tell your boys that? But it's okay for y'all to call yourself men, but your homeboys living off their baby mamas. Food stamps, low income housing stuff. And then y'all wonder why the state get involved, because you're not man enough to take care of that responsibility. And they have to step in and play that role for you, gentlemen. Come on. I'm a man. I raise children. I raise my nieces and nephews as mine. I raise my little cousin as mine. I raised 2 other men, daughters, as mine. Tell me about you. Oh, he bragging. Oh, he boasting. Yes, he is. Yes, he is, for stepping up to the plate. But you want to flip it and make a person like me. You want to call them names, right? You can call me whatever you want. But I know who I'm not. I don't give a freak if you looking at me. I don't like the way you look. Oh, that's your goddamn business. I can't see you, so I might not like you too, in the way you look. I guarantee you this. A lot of y'all can't outdress me. I'm a well-dressed man. Very, very classic man. I just gotta go get this straight. But still, without it, I'm a well-dressed man. When I step up in the room, I'm a businessman. Take care of business. And I like throwing this out sometimes, right? With a 9th grade education. I don't care how intelligent you is on paper-wise. Just to know the type of work I do in Baltimore City and the business I have will intimidate you with your doctorate degree, because you spent all that money. And I'm the one that sends you clients. Oh, I didn't mean that. I apologize. If you into psychology and therapy and all of that, I'm the one. dealing with the homeless population, they need your profession. So who you think gonna guide them towards you if you serious about your work? Me. Me. So don't you ever, I don't care who you is, try to look down on me. Then I'm gonna share this with you. As an ordained deacon, you don't want to touch that. As me being a minister for Christ. Because I'm doing what I was called to do, walking in my call. The same way Moses did. The same way David, Abraham, Joseph, Isaac, when God called them. The same way when Jesus came here and called the disciples. I am walking in my calling. I know what it is to be a fisher of not just men, but a fisher of men, women, and women with children. Why? Because that's what I do. Oh, he's showing off. Well, yes, he is. Because I remember one time I didn't care. Like, yeah, keeping it real, y'all. It's called keeping life real. Keeping life real. What the freak I got to lie for? To win your approval? Oh, no. My pastor said, let me make sure I get it right. Because I do say study to show thyself approved. Study to show thyself approved. And I'm like, unto who? God and then man. Because throughout my life, I realized, and some of y'all, please take a real deep look at yourself. A lot of us are busy trying to please human beings, which I get you. Because I was stuck there too, where I was trying to win favor in man rather than in the sight of God. So when I heard my pastor say that, right, win favor in the sight of God first and then man, I was like, oh my God. So I had to turn it. Because what it says on top of that, when you win in favor in the sight of God, it's just you and God. It said, man, we'll see it. I was like, oh my God. Abdul, you know I'm getting ready to pick with you, right? That's my brother family. He's a Muslim. You bet not say nothing smart, bro, because I know you probably listening. He posts something on LinkedIn. Somebody put something out. And he said, show me in Bible where Jesus calls himself I am. Right? So I sent him scripture. Y'all Muslims, if look, stop asking people stuff. And the moment they show it to you, you deny it. You ask, look, if you don't see that God was known by many names, I don't give a freak about your religion, okay? If you don't see that God was called by many names, you're going to miss it. Open up your heart, open up your mind. If you're Muslim or Israelite, a Jew or whatever religion you study, he has a name. He's known by many names. So when Moses went to Moses said, if Pharaoh asks me who sent me, who shall I say sent me? He said, I am sent you. Did he not? That was God talking to Moses, right? I am. And the Old Testament is still quote some stuff where no. I got to go to Christ now. I got to go to Christ. With God, as we all know when we study, which is the spoken word, right? because we read it, which is the spoken word, which became the written word, right? I read the Bible. You read the Quran or whatever books y'all read, right? Basically speaking the same language. Just might be written, the wording might be written just a little bit, but it means the same. It's how you interpret it. So now I'm picking with my brother, right? Because I know where he at. And when I first started reading scripture back in the days, I thought I was going to be a Muslim. I did. But God switched it when he introduced me to who he became in the flesh. So watch this. The spoken word, God spoke everything into existence, right? The earth was already formed. It was just covered in water. So he called it out of the water, the darkness, the water. Ah! I thought my brother probably, because I know he put that on LinkedIn. I said he probably just sent the comment over there. Now, mind you, everybody don't see this. That's why you listen to what a person is saying. I'm not pushing nothing on you. But I'm just saying, as time went through on my spiritual journey, how God started revealing things to me. Maybe you didn't ask for certain sites or questions. You get me? I'm sorry when I said sites. Because I was told to pray for sight beyond sight, to see the truth behind what they are really saying in biblical time, scripture, manuscript. I was told to pray and ask to see the truth. We understand man wrote that. Or do you understand? We understand that the Holy Spirit empowered them. That's the same Holy Spirit that empowers me to speak the way I do. And guess what? Everybody is not going to connect with what I'm saying. I already know that. But that's not going to stop me from talking unless God shut me down. Now, the spoken word. Didn't they say the Spirit of the Lord was hovering through the universe? I wait. Did it not say the Spirit of the Lord was hovering through the universe? It was words that came out that spirit, right? God is his word. The word became flesh. He started writing about the word. Didn't Isaiah predicted the virgin's birth? And his name shall be called Emmanuel, which means God is with us. Come on, bro. I ain't trying to be smart because you my older brother. Stick to what you know, and I'm gonna stick to what God showed me. Let me go back. What I am showed me, who he is. I am Jehovah Jireh. I don't call them names because I'm not a Jehovah Witnesses, but I'm recognized. So, in saying that thing, the spoken word, right, which became the written word, became the living, breathing word. I was like, what in the world? The spoken word, which became the written word. had become the living, breathing word. I said, oh my God. Now, I know it's only one God. Don't get it wrong. We know it's only one. But it was the work of that one, how he started breaking himself down. Now, I'm using my words, right? Because I'm not real intellectual like a lot of y'all. And when it comes to the words, right? When it comes to words, I'm not, real good with a lot of that. Educationally finding more conservative words to put there. So you got to bear with this 9th grade education guide, because I ain't done by far. Keep that in mind. The spoken word.
What's up, brother?
What's up, man? The spoken word. I've been good. You throwing me off. The spoken word, which became the written word, had become the living, breathing word. Right? So now, mind y'all, I'm trying not to lose track, OG. Now, mind y'all, when my brother made the statement on LinkedIn, it was another Copeland, Rashad Copeland, that gave the Lord praises. But my brother put that statement there. Nobody else paid attention to it, because they were steady saying amen, and they were saying this and saying that. Because the ones that was amen is the ones that understood what his prompt was about. So when I came in, I said, bro, I love you. I know where he at as a Muslim. But if you don't understand how God, the creator, manifested himself in the human form. Now, not just saying that, you got to believe it deep in your heart, deep in your spirit. Even when he became unalive, and when he came back on the 3rd day, so y'all want to add everything up, but we kind of like going with the scripture thing. You get me? And he approached the apostles, and he told them to continue on the journey, to go out and baptize them in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Did he not say that? In some cases, people say Holy Ghost. I say Holy Spirit. Reason why I don't say ghost, because that reminds me of, when I say ghost, it's more like a demon thing to me. That's why I don't say ghost. But I know if that's how you see it, that's fine. But look, this is what he told the disciples, right? So people say, well, the Trinity is not written in the Bible, which is true. But what did he tell the disciples to go do? That's the Great Commission. He gave them that commission to go back out and baptize them in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Did he not explain to them, or to the disciples, the point of the Holy Spirit? To comfort them, to empower them, to strengthen them, to encourage them, to motivate them. What do I talk about all the time? My 12-step spiritual journey. It's the Holy Spirit that empowers me, encourages me, motivates me to go back out and do actually what Christ in them was on this earth doing. And if you're into any organized religion and they aren't teaching you certain things, because they're going to teach you about structuring your life according to their laws and their traditions. But now when you start standing up on your own, because I ask people, have you gained a spiritual connection through your religion? Because by now it becomes personnel. A lot of people I hear some people that's like Muslims and stuff like that, they will talk about the spiritual side. I'm like, thank you, because that's all I want to know. Right? Have you gained that connection? I understand you know scripture. You know the Quran. I understand you know whatever religious stuff that you read and studying. I understand you know that very, 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 very well. I understand it. That's why I said religion is the foundation, which I mean is like the grounds that we stand on to move forward in our spiritual journey. I said it because that's how I see it. If that's not how you see it, don't question me. Don't do it. Because God works with us in his own special way. That's why I ain't in that religious box no more. And then I understand too, I ain't trying to be smart, but God just don't speak English. I heard Curly Showell say that. Curly Showell was there at our church. She said, God can say no in all languages at one time. And when she said that, I was like, oh my God. Because some of us are so blocked. We're in this religious box. When she said that, I said, oh my God, he just don't speak English. And then at my church is uh, all yeah. So, and I seen some Chinese people there one day, right? But in order for them to be there, they gotta speak English. They gotta understand English, and it shocked me. I'm like, oh my God! But I understood when you teaching, it's a big difference between teaching and preaching, right? I didn't understand that till I got to the Church of the Redeemed, because I was in the Baptist church for like 5 years. Real, very religious man. Do you believe in God? Do you accept him as your Lord, your Savior? Went through all of that. That's why I don't knock people when I hear them certain things. It just reminds me of the babes in Christ. All right. Hey. It just reminds me of you still a babe in Christ. So now, when you do stuff like that, but guess what? If that's how he worked with you, that's how he worked with you. I internalize what I understand and live it to the best of my human abilities. So after I heard Curly Showell say that, right, it took me out of that religious box. And then when Jamal Bryant came into our church, man, he had a big Bible. That sucker was big. And he said, find your life story. Your story is in Bible. Once again, it moved me away from that religious doctrine, right? I know it's there, but it moved me away. And our biggest,
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I just want to interject with saying we all have a testimony, and having faith is what guides us to keep on going and strive for his promise. I was rejected. I'm the youngest of 5, and changing religion, my family disowned me. I've been spit in my face. I've been AB, ransacked my parents' house when I just moved right back in after 17 years. And it was a lot. But to this day, I'm still fighting for my name because my siblings took me to court. They pushed it that far to say that AB, my dementia father, and my mother as well. We were both tried, and she got temporary conservatorship because my mom was on my side, made me her power of attorney. They rejected my mother as well. So they went behind her back and filed. So when we went to go contest it, we had a trial. But then COVID hit, and then it postponed. But she took her temporary conservatorship approval to a different court to get her evicted from her house that she lived for 35 years, or 45 years, I'm sorry. But it's been a journey, man. And, when I was there to help my mom to take all her stuff out when sheriff evicted her, my siblings jumped me. And, so it was a lot right in front of my children. And it was to the point where I would have got my face smashed in if I didn't have any help to get them off of me, but it's been hell. But fast forward 10 years, almost 10 years now. Been fighting for my name and still fighting in court for my inheritance. It's been going on for 8 years now.
Wow.
So, yes, because it's just one thing after another in my story.
It's heartbreaking to hear that too, Glow.
Right?
It is really heartbreaking because I'm looking at family.
Yeah.
And my mother, and it's not to cut you off, my mother
No, it's good.
passed when I was like 27. And I thought she was going to come home for us to take care of her, but she didn't make it. And that's been over 38 years ago. And when I look back at that, just from what you said, Glow, whew, sometimes I wish she was here.
Oh,
That, you know, we could take care of her. And just to hear what you said and looking at the family, it's like, come on.
right? It's disgusting
Yeah.
how jealousy can really take
Ooh.
over the importance of family relation. Because, you know, my mom, I grew up seeing how much my mom struggled helping out my other siblings with, you know, their credit or whatever. And I made it my journey to where I'm not going to ask my parents for credit. I'm going to be there for them because I'm the last one. I'm seeing all the struggle they've been through. And sure enough, it was just jealousy because at the age of 16, I had to quit school for my parents.
Come on.
Their house was going on foreclosure. So I was selling wholesale fruit in LA by the box, by the pound, you know, by 50 pounds and by the pallet, actually. And I was making good money as a 16-year-old. I paid my parents' mortgage of $2,000 every month for a year. And then
come
I
on,
just
come
ended
on.
up surviving after that.
I love hearing that. I love hearing it. You know, cause look, at a young age, that's why I say I love hearing it. My mother taught me how to cook, clean, sew, and do all that good stuff. And look, I was looking at one of the cards that I had when I was younger from social service. I was her caretaker for that too. So look, I'm looking at the card with my picture on it, but it dawned on me that was my mother's stuff. So I was making market. I was doing all of that, and you bringing back a lot of memories, Glow. You heard me? It's not bad though. It's not bad. I love it. I love it.
It's a bittersweet, I know.
Yeah,
But, you know,
woo.
yeah, no regrets. I know my siblings have regrets. They're stupid, you know. I was able to care for my mom the way she needed. I used to pick her up because she was wheelchair bound. Put her in and out of bed, and it wasn't easy. It was a lot on my back, but I did it with the angel's help, you know.
And guess what? My mother was in the wheelchair. She had lost one of her legs, right? And we used to bathe. I bathed and all that too. You know, wiped it. You know, had to wash her off and stuff because she had to use the pot. But still, to clean her. So that's why I said you bringing back memories. But guess what? It's not painful. It's a big smile on my face because we went through this to come up out of it. And the whole goal, one, I just don't like the fact that name wise and all of that, as far as y'all family and how they fighting against you so much, you know, which is horrible. That's what I'm talking about. But as far as I feel, you know, it's like no resentment, no anger. You understand what it is. It's just getting my name right. And that's what I get. That's what I get, Glow. Come on.
Yeah, because my siblings, they didn't help me bury my mother when, you know, when it was time, because they wanted to set me up for failure at my mother's word of putting me as her power of attorney. So, but, you know, I did it. I hustled, you know, with my extended family. I was initiating selling tacos and car washing and, you know, there from the crack of dawn till sunset. And we raised $12,000 in a month. And, but then, like, fast forward when my dad passed almost a year later, 11 months later, she had my dad as conservator. So she was in charge of my dad's funeral and the assets at that time because everything was still going through courts. Because all the funds were in a trust. So she had some kind of access with the court's approval. So she put it down where I couldn't visit my dad. I had to do all kinds of things to visit him. I didn't know when my dad was in the hospital a week in there. He passed away. I didn't know on his last days. You know, I found out a day after he passed, and then when he passed, she closed the casket on me, so I went to see him one last time.
Your sister or somebody like that?
My oldest sister, yes, we're 20 years apart. Yes, that we're all the same parents. Yes, it's just like I said, jealousy is a very ugly thing, and that's what it was. It was just jealousy and power. She knew how to play the system. She did this with her in-laws before my parents. Her in-laws, 2 years before my parents' house declined, her in-laws had dementia and Alzheimer's, and she has a son as a notary. So he notarized dual power of attorney papers with financial management and took all her in-laws' assets. So she tried to use this in court between me and my mother, but my mother still was sound in mind, but just wheelchair bound, and tried to call her incompetent and abuser to A-beer to my father. So yeah, she knew how to play the system and make it so confusing and exhausting.
Right, I get you. I pulled
through it, man. No matter how much she tried to, push at it and push, I just let's put another declaration in and postpone it because I ain't ready yet. I gotta still collect. I got other shit going on, So, but I'm telling you, man, you have so many sisters that I could really say, no matter how much hardship and trials they put me through, I learned a lot on how not to be.
Right, right. I love that. I love that.
I learned a lot. Yeah.
And see, let me say this, Glow, and I didn't want to go there, right? But as a human rights advocate family, when I say that, now, what is your nationality, Glow? Basically. Come on.
Hispanic.
Then see, now mind you, as a human rights advocate, listening to her make me want to jump in that, because look, the goal is fighting for their rights. And it doesn't, and that's why when y'all hear me say human rights advocate, we fight for the rights of all nationalities when I say human rights. But now if you hear me say like civil rights or anything along that line of NAACP, I can't just say blacks, because we fight the organizations I'm with, Glow, excuse me, we fight for everybody's rights. And not being smart, the only reason why I wanted to say that, family, because we always think we the only one go through stuff. I be trying to tell y'all we ain't the only ones.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Some might be harsher than others, but we're on the same boat.
Yeah, thank you. Ooh. And I realized that. I realized that because I forgot what nationality it was, OG. But I remember when we went to Detroit, Communities United in Us. Now, I don't know if we went to fight for the Hispanics' rights, or I end up saying migrants, right? But they wasn't, or immigrants. And I try to watch it because I'm not talking about the illegal immigrants, right? But the ones that was here, the ones that's here, like the Hispanics. And that's when I found out blacks ain't the only ones they discriminate against. I was like, what the fuck? And yeah. And just saying that as a whole, I'm just looking at family wise what she's going through. We might not hear a lot of other people talk certain things, but I'm gonna tell you, pain is pain. I don't care how it comes. Mainly if it comes like family.
And these my nieces and nephews I raised, practically I raised since they were babies, and then it's just, but you know what though, keeping faith has really brought me more and more of a believer, because he never gave up. And no matter how much the devil tried to block, like I didn't finish with my dad when he passed, how they closed the casket on him. I talked to the director there and I said, look, my sister and I are going through some issues, even with court. And I have a right to see my father one last time without her permission. This is my God-given right to see my daddy one more last time. And she was like, you know what? I still got to go talk to her about it and get her approval. I said, you know what? Don't even bother. She was like, just hold on, just wait. So she did. And I came back. She came back. She said, yeah, she said she's not going to open it. I said, I know. It was just a waste of time. So she was like, you know what? Just go wait in the parking lot when everybody's gone. They already think you're gone. Just wait till I flick the lights on and off, and come back. So After 20 minutes, everyone gone, I went back and I had an hour with my daddy, my children and I. We got to open the casket and we got to close it. No matter what, the devil tried to block my rights and my faith, and God always showed up more stronger than ever. And I didn't go brag about it in my family's face. If they're on here listening, then so be it. But you know what, though? That was my God-given, testimony that He always showed up for me.
That's awesome. That is so awesome. Yeah. That is awesome. I can't even.
She tried to separate my parents in death, and I had enough money to buy the burials next to my mom, so just in a timely manner, because I had to go to court to tell the judge to make my sister to put my dad with my mom in their double plot, and we got it done. So they're buried together. That's how evil and stupid, how far she would go with so much vendetta of what? I don't know. She just had against my mother, and because she's the oldest, she thought she had the right, and I was too prideful to let go and just admit she's wrong and just let it be. She had to be the one in charge of everything because she's sick that way.
And then it's not to question it, but it makes you think, what the heck is going on with her? She, it's like, what is going on inside of her that caused her to feel like it's okay to do stuff like that?
She's just always been evil and rebellious against the mom. My mom told me she stole from the Catholic church we lived right across the street from. Okay, so and then growing up, it was just bad. My mom would yank her at our parties by the hair. She would chase her down the street, being in boys' cars, and they were gang members. So, yeah, she had her journey with her first child, my oldest. Right. And then that's why the jealousy kicked in with me, because I was the hardworking since I was a baby. One time when I was 8 years old, my mom said she couldn't buy my cereal. So I took my dad's lawnmower, went next door, and I asked him if I could cut his grass so I could buy some cereal. He gave me $80, and I kept $10, and I gave the rest to my mom at 8 years old.
Ouch.
But, that's how I've always hustled, and my siblings hated that, and I'm proud I could say those things. Helping my dad out, changing the car, oil, or whatever, fixing the roof, electricity around the house, cementing. I always did things with my dad, and I have one brother, and he always told me, you're the son like I always wanted. And that's why I say I have no regrets, but my siblings do.
Right.
Because they're stupid.
Right. And that's good and that's just to hear you. I'm just looking at the spiritual journey. And remember what when I was talking about the spiritual journey with healing and growth. And that's what I'm basically hearing, because no matter how trials and tribulations come, from childhood on up, it's how we go through it. And when we come out of it, because I'm listening to Glow, but I'm looking at people listening, even though they might not be eyesight, but I know they're listening, and they're listening around the world in other countries as well. So listening to what Glow is saying is is a form of encouragement, because somebody else somewhere going through the same things. Somebody somewhere else had been through what she's talking about and came up out of it. So when you can share certain things like this, when it's horrible, but you can share it and still in a way say that I'm grateful, all glory to God, just by giving your testimony or just sharing, so somebody else can use it as encouragement for themselves. And that's what I love about this. Come on.
I appreciate you. That's what I have on my name is Glow 360. Because my name's Gloria, but yet let glory be to God. No matter how life hits you, like a 360, all you have to do is look up and depend on Him.
You got to. And I'm looking up certain things, Glow, and to keep the spirit out of that box, I started seeing how universal it is. It's not something that I'm just talking about your faith, your belief, whatever you may believe in. that empowers you and strengthens you, that helps you move in a more healthier, positive way. That's what I'm talking about. Because we can all do destructive stuff, mainly when people come up against us to protect ourselves. We can. But the goal is to focus more on a healthier way of dealing with certain things that's normally meant to tear us apart. So I
Yes, sir.
realize,
Have
yeah.
you ever heard of a smash room? Have you heard of that?
Yeah, I think I was talking about that the other day, Glow. A guy was saying something about they have a place where you can go and break up stuff or do certain things to get that anger off. That's what you talking about? Ah!
Like if anybody cross me, I don't want to take it off on the road. Everybody's sharing the road, and if everyone's trying to get an A to B in their homes and their families, so that's one thing we got to remember when we're behind the wheel. Because we all carry something. I'm just waiting for someone to itch me the wrong way, and then I'm gonna throw my anger on them. But why? They have a family that love them and care for them too, just as mine. So I just gotta go to find a smash room and get some therapy out.
And see, that's what because that's what I was talking about mainly with the men. It's okay to hurt. It's okay to cry. It's okay, but don't do nothing destructive. And then when I said that the other day, it took me back to I couldn't think of the name, but I'm gonna say somewhat what you said, like the smash room, because the guy had mentioned that. He said that when he go through certain things, they have a space where you can go and like get it off. You got to break stuff. You got to do this and do that, just to, and how they feel so much better. I was like, wow.
Yep.
Wow. Now I drove the tractor trailer. So I had to always keep focus on the public, right? So no matter how I felt, once I got behind that wheel, driving that big truck, and if you're not focused on your job, like you were saying, Glow, I can run a lot of people over. I can hurt a lot of people. But now driving that tractor trailer, I had to watch out for the public as well, as far as safety wise. So we was trained. That's why when I was talking with this guy the other day, I said the Smith system to him, right? Because one thing about a lot of the road drivers, they don't do the Smith system, which they supposed to have that training, because that's a safety training on teaching you how to drive. So it might have changed now because I've been a driver for so goddamn long, right? But for every 10 miles, you stay a car behind. So if you driving 10 miles an hour, that's one car length. Each 10 miles, you got to do like 5 car lengths away. I'm getting ready to say half a mile. But because if your truck is full of weight, it's going to take time to stop it. You can't, it all depends on how much weight you got on the truck. You can be up on somebody and hit that brake, you're going to go right into them. So this is how I taught my children to stay whatever miles you drive and stay the car lengths behind it, right? Then you got to watch it because you don't want to be boxed in. So you got to make sure nothing is on your left, nothing is on your right, just in case something stopped immediately in front of you. You can shoot around it. So this is how I taught my children.
I drive to Arizona all the time. I've been going through my journey, and when my parents passed away and my siblings been stupid and my ex, he couldn't handle all the pressure because it was one thing after another. When my mom passed, that day when we buried her, I had to go to the ICU, and I was in there for 5 days because my sugar was at 600. So, yeah, I had like 7 IVs. I mean, my body was about to shut down. The doctor said I was on the verge of death. I was under tremendous stress when my mom passed. So I didn't know I was dying myself.
You know what, Glow? I'm a diabetic. And I was just getting ready to look up what had happened to you once it get over 500. That's what I was like, when you said 6.
Don't do it. I mean, okay, so now when I got out of the hospital, I was on, insulin, and I had to take a shot in the morning and in between meals. For 3 months straight, I was just eating cheese enchiladas and fresh squeezed lemonade and chamomile tea. I had that day in, day out for 3 months straight. And I'm just diet control now. I don't take insulin. I lost a lot of weight. and I got my A1C back where it needs to be. So
And,
it can be reversed.
and that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at. I'm not taking the insulin, but I'm going to tell you this, what I realized. I was taking Trulicity. Now, Trulicity helped with the appetites and stuff like that, but I think it helped with the organs as well. But I ran out of it. I couldn't afford it. It went up to 200 copay. But anyway, the new doctor put me on Ozempia. But the same things, Glow. They wanted 200 for the copay. I'm like, what the freak? Well, anyway.
Yeah, I just stick to like natural stuff, like lentil beans, especially fresh squeezed pineapple juice. You get a lot of enzyme from them, and sometimes you mix it with some dragon fruit. Dragon fruit is real good for like antibacterial and
right.
All that stuff. So it's better just to go natural. Just put a couple of juices in your diet and sell it in your day. You'll be all right. You don't have to have the snacks. You don't have to have the stress eating. Been there, done that. I'm over it.
And guess what?
I lost 100 pounds.
Guess what? I don't tell nobody to do what I do, Glow. But I just ate around about 4 o'clock. Right? I eat once a day. And I only eat once a day because I eat when I get when I get hungry. Well, but I'm used to it. But anyway, my doctor took me off because my A1C came down a lot. My doctor took me off the fast acting and the slow. But now, mind you, for some reason, it seemed like if I just think about food, Glow, my goddamn sugar jump up. I'm like, what the hell is going on? I'm sorry, Glow. I'm like, what is going on?
No matter how much you're trying not to stress, you're stressing. Your body's
is that what it is?
Reacting to. Yes, because no matter what you feel, you're trying to. I'm in a good mood, but no, your body's feeling that stress somewhere.
Yeah, it told me. Yeah, it told me that that right now, because my body is adjusting itself, right?
Yes.
But look, I gotta because I'm looking at the pancreas, right? And I swear, I've been a diabetic for 35 years. I don't remember nobody talking to me about my goddamn pancreas and all this stuff. So right now, as everything you said, I'm taking stuff to help clean out the system, period. Right? I take oh my God, it's over there. I take the beta, the stuff that it helps clean out your system, your organs and stuff like that. That's basically what I'm trying to get to. But still, it's like when my stuff was real crazy, I ain't had these issues. It was like, what the heck is going on? But now I'm understanding because my body, like you, I lost over 100 pounds. I'm under 200 now, and I'm 6'1". I weigh 190 pounds. I'm at my regular body weight and all of that. And look, I feel good, right? But I'm so used to being big, Glow. So when I walk down the steps sometimes and I put the mirror down there where I could see myself, I'm like, boy, you legs and stuff, give me your hair. But it's a good feeling because you're doing all the right things. It's like, what the heck is wrong with this?
Right. That's what I tell my kids. I look like a marshmallow with 2 toothpicks. Like, come on, I gotta do something. Yeah, I got the mama belly still. I'm working on.
Look, my kids told me, Dad,
But it's okay, though.
My kids was like, Dad, please don't lose no more weight. I'm like, because I walk, my daughter had the nerve, my 27-year-old Glow told me I walk too much. Because I had walked up to the hospital, right? And because it's not that far, I can catch a ride or whatever. Well, she came and got me because she got my truck, Glow. But I've been walking a lot more now. And I'm like, Steve, when you get your newer truck, continue walking, only jump in the truck from time to time, But because I don't want to reverse a lot of what you and I talking about. Oh, wait. But look, I'm like.
But then again, if you don't use it, you lose it.
And then look, because normally this is my ritual. Around about 4 o'clock, between 3 to 4, I'll eat. I normally go for a walk, and then I'm back to do the show. That's the ritual, right? And I'm doing everything that we supposed to do to be healthier. But I don't. But now, I got to make the appointment with the I think it's the diabetic clinic, right? I don't eat a lot, right? I had to bring something sweet in just because I had an issue with it dropping. So I had to go take something, bring it back up. And now it's not dropping on me and I'm not messing with certain things, but I be goddamn, it's like I got that thing on my arm, right? I can think about food, glow, and it seems like my sugar go up. I'm like, what the heck is you doing? I ain't even eat yet. But
Okay,
it might
so
be the stress, like you said. It might.
yes, because you're overthinking it. So, because you're not portion
Woo!
sizing it, you're only eating once a day. So that's when your body is just going off the fat that you are trying to lose, and it's just confused on what is
Yup.
intake and what it's just trying to survive off of.
Yup.
So you have to portion yourself. You know, this is what I learned from my nutritionist, and I also worked for a nutritionist. She's such a sweetheart. But you know, once you start learning how to feed back your body the right nutrition is throughout the time limit and portion size, you'll be okay throughout the day. You don't have to eat once a meal. Snack a little bit in the morning to get you going, you know, like a piece of bread and peanut butter, whatever, and coffee, you know, or tea. And then drink water in between, plenty of water, and then have a good sized breakfast. You know, I like this morning I had maybe about a quarter inch, just a small, you know, size, like hand size pancake with about a couple ounces of eggs and 2 chicken sausages. Chicken, not pork.
I know.
That's a big deal. But, you know, so if you want to put a little favorite, put a little bit of beef of chorizo with the chicken sausages. It gives it a better flavor and it keeps it, you know, pretty juicy. So that way you are, you know, trying to put in the fat and trying to comfort your taste buds. For a hearty meal for the morning. And then again, water, and then a small snack, some crackers, something that you need to chew on. That's crunchy. You know, some fruit or a salad. You know, you gotta really put. And then at dinner time, only between 5 or 4:30, 7 o'clock the latest, have a dinner. You know, that's the dinner time where you can digest before you go to bed. Because
come on, I'm just laughing because you're right. You're right.
I hear it. We gotta follow it because it's there for a reason. You know, just like these resources out here. You know, everything that's out here for us, we just gotta take advantages. And the key thing is asking for help and the guidance to it.
But you know, everything you saying, Glow, because it's like a ritual with me. Around about 4, and I had put it in this. I talked with AI. And AI told me, it said, what happens, I got that 4-hour window between 4 to 8. And then after that, it's like my body go into this starving mode. So it told me to eat a little something after 8. Just what you said. It did. It just said put something on it so it won't.
You're gonna go on the fasting era.
That's everything you just said. That's what they told me. And then sometimes I forget,
your
Glow.
Yeah, but that's when your body's working the hardest, when you're asleep.
Yeah.
I also work with the sleep doctor. She talks a lot about the sleep realm and how much your body goes through it and how much the oxygen to your brain helps you as well with your diet. So you got to make sure you're taking enough oxygen to your brain while you sleep, so you won't be cloudy and you could be focused. So have a perfect position of sleep. And you know, get some research as we get older. You make sure you don't have sleep apnea or any kind of blockage of your airway to sleep.
I love hearing what you're saying because you know I don't know how old you is, but I'm 64. So
I'm 40.
Okay, so I understand everything you are saying because this is what basically I need to sign up for those classes again. Because now it's like I'm older, and my biggest thing is, Glow, I know my organs can really start, you know. So
going down.
Now that's what I'm learning. So I just went to the kidney doctor. I already had the other. I'm just everything, the liver and all that. I'm just trying to make sure everything is acting right and running right. You get me?
Grapefruit juice is very good.
Okay.
Just put that out there. Grapefruit.
Okay.
Lots of grapefruit. Yep. And if you tried the orange gold, the gold grapefruit, white gold, I'm sorry. It's called white gold grapefruit. So good. And mostly you can find it in like Mexican stores.
And I do a lot of vegetables too.
I don't really like
I was gonna
the
ask you
original
about that.
grapefruit
Mm-hmm.
with the red meat. I like the it's like yellow whitish white gold grapefruit.
White gold grapefruit.
Yes.
Yeah. Cause see, I don't have a problem. I know I have to measure out the starch. You know that. I normally bake my chicken. I try not to mess with anything else. I do have those turkey sausage. I do have the 3 packs of pancakes. And be honest with you, if I put 3 of those or 2 of those sausages on, like you mentioned, and the 3 pancakes, I'll just eat that for dinner and that's it.
Yeah, but see, you're starving yourself throughout the day.
See, that's
Don't do 3, just do 1, and you'll be good. And put in some more fruit, especially because you're diabetic. And, you'll get better. Your body will adapt to it because that's what it needs. It's confused, especially do you stretch? If you lost so much weight, your body and your bones and your joints and your ligaments are used to putting so much pressure on the ground as you walk. So you have to learn how to walk all over again in a sense.
Right. I walk. I do. I'm sorry, Glow. But once I eat, I walk. And what it does, because I say like if it run up a little bit, once I start walking, I know the blood is circulating. So I know it's going to bring it back down. So it's just right now, everything we talking about, the medication that I was taking is for the old Steve. Now that I have lost, we lost a lot of the weight. I'm down with where my weight should be. My A1C, when the lady did my A1C, was like 5.4. So I was supposed to have been considered as not a diabetic. But now the new doctor I have, I was explaining to her what was going on with me. And then she looked at my Dexcom numbers. She was the one that said, okay, you can stop the medication. But now she signed me up for Ozempic. And I'm thinking Ozempic must have supposed to have been in the place of feeding something else. You might know something more about that for the diabetes.
I haven't got into Ozempic. I was a caregiver, direct support professional for 5 group homes. And, I was getting all into all the medical field, but tragedy hit my home and it led me to homelessness.
Oh, sorry to hear that.
But no, it's okay. It's just, it was a lot of, I don't can say how much really family can hurt you. And you just got to rely on God, like I said. But that's another story. But now we're not homeless. We haven't been homeless since February. Like I said, we met this wonderful lady through my cleaning company because she needed help. And her parents passed away, and she has a home and her family up north, California. So this home is down south. And now I'm just a caretaker without paying rent, or I'm just taking care of the home and her Dobermans and her, her property and her weapons, everything that's here.
And so, you know what? I just want to say this because I don't know if you had listened to that. I have a program where I work with the homeless and the less fortunate population. It's a temporary housing program to get them into a permanent place, and I do that here in Baltimore City as well. So I deal with a lot of people that have programs themselves, and my business partner.
Out here, it's crazy. I mean, I signed up for everything and told them our situation dealing with PTSD and because my daughter was assaulted by my 33-year-old nephew, and while I was at work, so. I had to deal with all that. The one person I trusted, he held my children at birth. I mean, I never saw this coming. So, and my sons were present at the time, and then he tried to torment them by, road raging in the streets before I got to pick them up. So I had to do a split hair decision on either, taking this metal rod to the head of my nephew, or
I got you.
or go to the police station, and I had to take my kids safe, because there's no one else for my kids. I'm not going to do nothing for my kids in jail if I went
Right,
on instinct.
right. And I love that because look, Glow, the Couch Conversation Show and Be More's Real Teen Talk Show. And I be wanting, well, parents, make it simple because I can do a long story. Parents are like when you have to check your children, because parents are their solution. But the point of the Teen Talk Show is to get to the root cause of our children's behaviors. It could have started at 5, could have started at 3, could have started at 8, 9, 10. You get me? But the point is giving them a voice where they can talk about where they at, or what happened to them. But now it's up to the parents.
Oh, that's
They
why
are the
I dropped my
solution.
job. I was on my way to a career. Like I said, I was a high school dropout and working different types of jobs. I could name a 2-3 page list of jobs I've had throughout my life. But being a lead direct support professional was on my way of a career because I was on a salary income. And I was hiring and firing. So I was on my way. And this happened in a time where I was about to drop several other jobs and focus on this one job, and then life just hit hard. And my daughter, my sons, they've been through hell, rejection,
Right,
and
right.
my family, how they treated me in front of them. They're stuck in the middle of all of it, and their dad just up and leaving, not understanding why, and then I had to be on survivor mode. So they were right there with me, and mom's not home because I had to go to the next job. 30 minutes, I'm home. Check on you. I brought you guys food. All right, do your homework. Here's the list I have for you to do on the bulletin board. Okay, I got to go. Love you. Bye. How can they have a parent, to direct them and to, show them how to grow and be dependent when I'm not there by the billboard, by 30 minutes, but I had no other way of survival, of paying my rent and back and forth with courts and my siblings and my parents. It was a lot, but you know what? I freaking did it.
Yeah.
And
that's what I'm hearing, Glow. Whoa. Because you know what, dealing with the women, right? When they come in, I don't judge them. I mean, they might have 5 kids. I had one woman came down, right? But I was going through some stuff with one of the people I was working with. She had 9 children, and one of her children had a baby. So actually, mind you, I'm doing a room. It's 9. That would have been 2 rooms. But when she came down, it was just some stuff that was going on where I didn't have a chance to talk with her, Glow. But when I seen her come back out the building to walk away, I went down to her and gave her a hug to let her know I'm here. But I was dealing with the person that I was leasing the property from and a couple of people that I thought was my business partners that was trying to steal stuff behind my back. So I'm out there arguing when she came, and it didn't look right. But I had to go, Glow, and I had to grab her because the goal was to help her and her children. 9. And
right,
then one had a
you
baby.
gave her a spiritual hope. That hug gave a spiritual hope that she's still thought of, and there's still an opportunity. She just got to keep pushing.
Right. And then a social worker had called me for her, asking me could I help this mother. So I get workers, DSS workers that want to
Nice.
house people. And some of them, my thing is if they don't have the money, it's just to be in space, to pay for their space. They normally write me a check for them. So all of that is fine and dandy. They know what I do. The shelters, they come from the
That's
shelter.
amazing.
Huh?
That's amazing. Yeah, because we don't have none of that out here in California.
See?
It's terrible. I asked for a closed environment because of the PTSD, and there's nothing available. And if I'm not on a drug program or mental program, I have no help. And so I was like, okay, I just gotta hoof it, and just gotta keep my prayers up, And sure enough, we were sleeping in our car. I only had $2 to my name. And I was like, okay, I filed what I had to file. And now I'm trying to put my name out there to find clients. And then the night before, I only had $2. So I was like, how am I getting my babies to work? I have nothing ahead of me. I'm going to leave it to you, Lord. And the next morning, there's this program that's called PICO that's involved with the school, calls me and tells me that someone has dropped off $100 in gas and $100 in Denny's food. And, we were okay for the week. And after that week, I started getting clients. And it brought us to this point where we're now caretakers and off the streets and safer than ever. Our driveway is 100 feet from the street. So, it's very well protected. And like I said, growing up in such a domestic family, my journey, I've finally feel safe because I put all my trust and faith in him.
Awesome. Now, look, everything she said, and I'm going to say this to y'all. Anytime you come into the housing program, you have to sign up for the mental health program. Because what happens, like Glo was saying, once you sign up for the mental health program, it's a lot of services that Medicaid will pay for. But you got to get connected with the professionals as well. And this is what me and my business partner was talking about today too. Because we was talking about somebody that lied to us about having a mental health care program.
Wow.
But they was calling me for a PRP. They was calling me for a therapist. They was calling me to introduce them to a psychiatrist. I'm like, wait a minute, hold. You supposed to have all this lined up.
Yes.
So and me and him was talking, and he said I was lied to about the same things. So I told him I had to reach out to this other healthcare provider. I said, but what got me with, I'm going to say his name, Powell. I said, what got me with Powell, right? I thought he was going to send the PRPs first. No, he sent the therapist first. Blew me away.
And
I was like, come on, Glo.
I get it, man. I just never want to declare, I had a mental issue because I could have.
Right.
I could have just went off the rails and, just like everyone else,
Wait a minute, Glo. Let me go back to what she said. Some people don't have those issues. But sometimes, Glo, I just had to stop you right there. I said, you got to act like you do in order to get the help. You heard what she was saying. She didn't really need it. A lot of them don't need it, right?
I don't play games because if you believe, if you do wrong, it's going to come back 10 times full. And that's in everything. My name holds truth. And my yes is a yes and my no is a no. And I'm not going to play or falter in anywhere because no matter what I have or whatever I strive for in this earth, I'm going to leave with my name intact. And my name is correct. And I don't have nothing holding or burning as much as I can because I'm still working on me.
And I love it because I had to go there with what you said, Glo, because it's so true. It's so true because I realized when you coming into, I'm going to say, a transitional housing program like mine, right? If you don't have some type of issue, psychologically, a lot of programs won't bring you in. They won't offer you the necessary helps that you need. That's why I kind of came in when she said what she did, because it took me back to that everybody, and I already know that normally, dealing with homelessness and stuff like that is not because of psychological issues. It's because either not being able to afford to, continue paying for wherever they at, the housing or whatever. They might have lost a job. They just need you to help them get, come on.
Mine is, okay, so in my situation, I was making a salary and doing Uber Eats. So I was making around $100,000 a year. It was going finally great. And then my nephew, in the beginning of last year, in March, did what he did to my daughter.
Okay.
So in April, I moved out of my apartment and moved out here in California, where my family said they'll help me and support me and give me the care that I needed for, because it was a lot to deal with. I had to deal with autism children, adults, different ages, and different female and male, so I couldn't work. And I couldn't focus, so I couldn't pay my rent. So I knew I needed to start over and just needed a little bit of guidance and a little bit of help. And at least have some kind of family, because I had nobody in Arizona. All my family is in California. So here we go. Fast forward, we had to go back to Arizona to talk to detectives, and talking to giving our statements, my children's statements to the detectives. On the way back, my daughter started getting PTSD and visions of harming herself, her person. And so I took her to the hospital, and she was admitted to the behavioral health center for about almost a week, about 6 days. Then in those 6 days, my neighbor, my aunt's neighbor, he's about 65, is like an uncle to me, and he ended up assaulting me, essaying me, and putting his hands all over me. My family didn't want to believe it, so they got in my face and been hostile with me, and I'd rather just been homeless after that. And I was going through the motions of, my nephew did what he did, and my best friend, everything that I could think of why he would, I don't understand. And then just trying to rebuild. And, I even paid for my savings that I had. I paid all my money as much as I can to try to start over all on my own, paying hotel rooms. And then I couldn't pay no more hotel rooms because the emergency vouchers were only for like 2 weeks tops.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I couldn't really get anywhere because there's paperwork over paperwork. And then I had to file here, take my kids to school, pick them up, find work. It's a lot. And, make sure my kids had therapists, because that's why I moved out here. My kids, my daughter, she made a good friend out here. And she loved her orchestra teacher out here. So I moved out here for that reason. Because prior to her assault, she ran away because I was working a lot and she had a lot of responsibilities. So she ran away and claiming that, she was getting abused, and she just calling for attention because she thought she was in love across country. And I took the internet away. So we had a lot of disagreements. I would yell at her, discipline her. So, and I even threatened her I was going to take her to military camp. And then after that, that's when she ran away. So, we were bumping heads a lot at 14.
Okay.
So fast forward, and right when she turned 15, she was out here in California, because I kicked her out the same day. When she ran away, I was like, I'm not going to live that way. I kicked her out, and I brought her to California. So she had friends out here she made. And when she was 14 to her sophomore year. And then, issue happened with my aunt, and they got in a brawl with a couple teenagers down the street, and I didn't want my daughter to be a target. She was with them for 4 months, so I just brought her home after that. And then 2 months later, my nephew assaulted her.
How old is she now?
She's 17 now.
Okay.
So when we all moved out here, and then after she got out of the behavioral health center, and he was convicted, and he got 9 years in prison. She's in orchestra. She's in mariachi band. She's in horsemanship. She has A's and B's. My son, they picked up drumming. My other son, he's picking up harmonica, and he's playing piano with me. So, with such a blessing, and like I said, with God's way and his will, now we are in a beautiful home playing music together. It's safe with a full refrigerator. And I just have to figure out all this paperwork, put it in order, and heal. And that's what I've been doing since February. And day by day, it's just, I have a lot of gratitude for each day now that I wake up, because I know I'm being guided by him.
And everything Glo is saying is what I talk about when it comes to the parents, is the solutions to the children issues or problems or whatever. Because you have to, once you recognize what's going on, get them the proper help. But what I'm looking at, the music stuff they're doing, she has to get them. You have to get them into like programs. Find out what their passion is. Some of them want to sing, dance, act, model. Steve plays soccer. Some of them might want to do lacrosse, cricket, golf. There are programs out there that you can get your kids into to embrace their talents. And that's the whole goal to Glow with the Teen Talk Show, is to help parents understand. This is something I said to Glow, because I deal with a lot of the marginalized community, people in the marginalized community. Understand Baltimore City has some beautiful places. Even though your children is in this certain environment, you can take them 15, 20 minutes, 10 minutes away into another area, and they think they're in a whole different city. But it's that mental part that you want them to embrace, that spiritual side of stuff. They be like, wow, I didn't know that Baltimore City itself, because they only in the inner city, this was here, and it's beautiful as all outdoors. So that's over there, that's over here. And that's why sometimes when y'all see me out and I do a live, that's to let people know I'm here in Baltimore City, but I'm not in the inner city. I'm near Morgan.
I really appreciate that.
Thank
Like
you.
my daughter, she does want to look for colleges that, you know, she's gonna have an opportunity to have to search for.
See?
She's very, very smart and brilliant and ambitious. She wants to be a veterinarian and specialize in horses. So, you know, she already got her OSHA certificates. She's on her way. I just need doors open for her and talk to the right people. And then I'm teaching her that how to network, you know, because that's all we can do. Is sometimes it's not what you know, is who you know. And that's
Right.
how I've grown up,
Right.
you know, because
Right.
that's how I had to hustle. And my morale and my, you know, trying to teach my kids, everyone I run into, they say, you have good kids. They listen to you. I was like, shit, man, if you know what we went through. But a military man is one. The military man, he's in the Air Force. He's like in his 60s. Wonderful compliment he gave me, just meeting my kids for about a week. No, but actually like 2 days. And then within that week, the end of the week, he told me, you know, the way you raise your kids and your morale, you are a quality person that just needs an opportunity. And then the next month, we had this opportunity to be caretakers. So, you know, it's like, no matter how much I've been told I was ugly, stupid, insignificant, I was also kidnapped at 15. And I also was SA'd at that age, and nobody was there for me. So I know what to do for my daughter at the time. You know, a lot of parents can't admit it, and I know it's hard to deal with. It's just to stand up and say, yes, I was a victim, but you know what? No, I'm not. I am a survivor, and I'm an advocate for those that need that help to keep going, you know, to keep striving. Because it says in the Bible, you are in pain or in anxiety, leave it all up to Him, but be clean and give my word that I've always been there for you and you never gave up.
Ooh. This is what people need to hear, Glow. You know, that's why I try to invite people over that been through changes in life, challenges in life, and can say, I was once here, and believing in a higher power, or believing in a power greater than yourself, or believing in Jesus, whoever you want to call your spiritual high being, believing in it, and talking about how you was able to come up out of it because of the faith, the trust, and how He blessed you. People need to hear that, because it's a lot of people. Glow, let me share this with you too. Common Sense came on. I normally tell people give me 3 to 6 months as far as them being in the housing program for them to get their lives together to move forward. So Common Sense came in and she said, Steve, when it comes to the women and the children, because by this time I'm talking about transitional housing. Most transitional houses is 18 to 24 months. She says, Steve, the women with the children, you have to give them at least 18 to 24 months, because you got to break that habit because they so dependent on doing everything themselves. They have to start feeling comfortable, which Glow was talking about, with themselves to move forward. So we provide the services, we provide the professional assistance and all of that, licensed professionals, but you got to do the work. And when she told me that, that took me to a whole different level, Glow. And not only that, Phyllis, this was she said too. There are places out there like the Salvation Army that will help them with permanent housing up to about 6 months. She mentioned another place like Catholic Charities. She mentioned another place that will help them up to a year. So once she said that, I had to start reaching out. I said, thank you. Thank you.
I was at this one in Prescott, Arizona. That's where I had my start. So that's the journey how I got there. But anyways, when I got there, it was as long as I needed to be. They just wanted me to feel safe. And I didn't take advantage of that. I just worked hard for 4 months, saved money, and moved out. Because I didn't like the rules. There was rules because I was always after the money. Curfew was at 10, and I couldn't do 10. I was okay with the Bible studies. There was Bible studies, but then, I like to learn, and I was okay for those. But when we were sick, we had to reschedule the Bible study, and that was okay too, as long as everything was met. But I couldn't cook for my kids there, and there was curfew, and there was no kind of daycare anywhere. So it was hard to manage work, saving, and follow the rules. Some women took advantage and was up there for up to 2 years. So, it's called Gospel Rescue in Prescott, Arizona, and they're very wonderful people.
I'm so proud of you. Because look, she right. I had a pastor there. Look downstairs, right? Me and Marlo was talking about this. Downstairs was across from the kitchen. Phyllis, we turned into like it would have been a daycare spot, right? For the people to come and watch TV, but they had Bible study classes. They looked there. So that's why I started laughing when Glow said that, because we had it set up where we can cover a lot. And Phyllis, I found out. I found out today he did not sell that building. That building's still available.
What?
Yep, me and Marlo was talking about it, right? And he reached out to Marlo to come back, and I said, Marlo, that was the one-stop shop. That was the one-stop shop, right? But it was the people, Glow, that was fighting us. And I gotta say us, because Phyllis was there with me straight out, right? To slow down the work or stop the work. And it just fell apart. But anyway, my mind got to thinking again, because I was told he sold it, but I found out he didn't. So he's looking for somebody to come in. I don't know. What you say, Phyllis?
No.
I ain't trying to
go through that again.
Cause look.
Not down there anyway.
Right, look, and I'm telling you, it's a wonderful place, but it's like,
And if there could be a possibility of a new program because it's bigger.
Well, I'm looking to actually Glow. I want my own, real simple.
I want to do this too one day. Hopefully, I'm hoping I can do this for somebody one day.
I hear it. Oh my God, I hear it. And everything that my housing program is designed for, it's a 5-phase. And as you graduate, you come through, like you said, with the women. And when we feel like, well, I gotta watch you, we gotta watch you. And we see that you are ready to go into your own place. You get the graduation is the key to your affordable place. And if you need somebody to teach you how to cook, how to clean, how to shop, how to do all that, that's what I look at the PRP for. But if not, if somebody tell me, well, I'm licensed to do this and do that and do this, and then I'm going to ask you, can you get paid through Medicaid for your services being licensed? If you say yeah, then I can bring you aboard because we'll just bill Medicaid for your service. That's how it runs. That's how most of the program runs. If
Right.
as long
You
as
know,
Medicaid, come on, Glow.
there's also with my the organization that I was with. They also provided, you know, like A to B to C type cars. You know, they made a deal with the nearby mechanic that always got
Yeah.
fixer uppers, and they helped the women there to get at least their license and a vehicle to start with.
Yep.
And it was up to the person to keep just work and get the parts that you need for your car to get it, you know, stronger than you need it to go from A to B. You know, you can at least go 30 minutes away, an hour drive away. You know, that way it's learning how to build them up and how to survive and fix their problems instead of just relying on somebody.
Right.
You know, start in being scared. Because that's where I was. I was scared with 3 kids and starting over, no money, you know, and it was just crazy. And I thought I was going the right path, and it just ended up being a mere stop, and I had to start all over again. I lost my money and lost everything. Start all over again. But, you know, when I got the blessing part, when I got out of the homeless shelter, because all we had was a few bags, the house that I moved into, the owner left everything behind. I didn't have to buy couches. I didn't have to buy TVs. I didn't have to buy beds. I didn't have to buy anything. Everything was just there for me because, you know, like I said, God always shows up. And that was another testimony there that he showed up for me. And that's where I thought I was going on the right path in Prescott. But then the devil showed up at my door, and, you know, it was my nephew, unfortunately. But we're starting over here again, and it's just like the story of Job. You got to have faith.
Yeah. Because I'm gonna tell you, me and Marlo had this conversation, Phyllis, about everything and certain people behaviors, right? And I was telling Marlo, I watched. It was like everything came to a halt, like boom, God shut it down. And I'm like, wow. And I told Marlo, right, and he shared some stuff with me that he was going through with that individual lady, right? And that's why he kind of bounced off. But anyway, we was up here cracking up because number one, no matter how you try to stop God's mission or vision for people, you can't. You can't. Because now he will allow you to go through certain things to learn from it, to do better in the next. Then if something happened along that way, for you to learn from it, to go to that next level. Because this, you see how my hands went up. It's to go up, and it's not to go down. As long as you believe in and trusting in him, and you keep doing what you're doing, he has to prepare us. And that's what I started realizing too, Phyllis and y'all. Mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. What God laid on my spirit when I opened up the housing program was to open up the housing program with the LLC as well, to start working with the people, and then get to the point where we start rehabbing and revitalizing houses for the inner city people. So now I'm talking to people because this is what I started out with at first, but he backed me up. He backed me up one step at a time, Mr. Copeland. So right now, everything Glow is sharing, and I'm sharing because it's a process. Because guess what? If I'm not careful, I'll try to do a million things at one time. You can't.
Right?
You
You know,
can't.
the way I feel is just like, you got to think about how the devil was casted out of heaven. How bad or how evil could you be to be blacklisted from heaven?
Woo.
He sent his son to die
Woo.
for us. So, you know, he's out here toying with us with his damn little demons and making us drink and drugs and, you know, just essaying and just, you know, doing amoral stuff that we know right from wrong because we have a conscience, we have common sense, but we choose because we have a choice to do the wrong thing because the devil knows how to get the best of us if we don't have God by our side. So if you don't have God by your side, then you cannot fight these demons that are always attacking you left and right because they known you since you were born, you know, before you were a thought. So you got to be careful in the way you live in this world because no matter what, his promise is always truth.
I love it. And that's why I always pray, no matter what, Glow, not to give up on his vision, his passion, his dreams, and helping his people. You know, sometimes it runs you ragged, but then you got to energize yourself and keep it moving. And you come up against a lot of obstacles. That's all I'm trying to say. Oh, Phyllis,
Tell me
what's up?
about it.
What's up, Queen? There it is. Thank you, Glow. I want to share this with you because I know you
I
don't
appreciate
know.
it.
I want to share this with you. Even though you speaking on TikTok, I got this right beside my iPad where I'm actually live streaming all together to 7 platforms so they hear you over here as well. And I'm going to make small clips and send them back out. You said some powerful
I
stuff.
just never had justice, but I appreciate it. You know, like when you don't feel like you have justice by your side because they are man-made laws, you gotta understand it takes a heart to give you that justice, and only God's heart is only the one that can judge us. So you gotta be faithful in Him, and just like everyone says, they'll get what's coming to them. You know, so just leave it up to God, because I'm too busy trying to heal, and I'm too busy trying to focus on what He wants me to do, not what this earth and these, demons coming left and right. Either it's in the system, family, friends, or society.
And I'm glad she said that, right? Because I was looking at the system, and I'm going to just say towards the Carmela Anthony case, right? No matter what, somebody lost their life. So it's not to glorify anything, but it's just the way things was done, right? And now we're getting all what they seen, the defense attorney and the prosecutor. But I'm gonna tell y'all right now, as a person that deals with a lot of this, and as a human rights advocate, community activist and stuff, we know how the prosecutor can play with stuff to make you look out to be the monster, right? And my thing I got mad about, because I know how they lie and manipulate the jurors. I got mad because I'm looking at what the prosecutor did and playing mind games with them. I'm like, you mother sucker. Because they try to make it as though it was Anthony and Austin, but it was actually Hunter. And then his brother stepped up to the plate to protect his brother, well, to handle the business. And that was sent to me. And I checked up on it, and they said, yeah, he said all of this on the show. But guess what? They wouldn't let him use it in court. I said, man, hold up. I'm just looking at the system itself. I'm like, this goddamn going,
I got proof that it shows that my nephew, my sister's son-in-law is, married to her daughter. I sent all of that to them, and the papers that has his notary license on it, his stamp. She even stole my 69 fiber Pontiac my mother gave me. My mom was in the hospital unconscious, and my other sister had power of attorney over her at that time, before she had her surgery for dialysis. So she was unconscious. They did this all when she was unconscious. So she approved and signed off the thumbprint on my sister's son-in-law's notary book. Got the PV papers and had my brother sign off on it because it was in my parents' property. My brother, the reason why is because he is Junior, Guillermo Urias Jr. My dad's name is Guillermo Urias. So he didn't put the junior part and said that he was ownership of the property and got it towed out and got it under their name and under their property as we speak today. And I know it's hard to go get it back, and everything I went through, one thing after another, all on my own. I let it go. I'm out of breath.
Look.
It's just a vehicle. It is just a freaking vehicle. And they'll come. they're thieves, and hey, like I said, they stole from the church before, and in any kind of religion, that's just wrong, you know. And so they just have this evil spirits, and I just gotta pray for them. When they say forgive them for yourself, you learn how to move on.
And I learned, right? Y'all know what happened with me 3 years ago. And I'm looking at this police officer and I'm looking at the detective. How they set this bull crap up. I never went to court to talk to a judge to explain who I was, what I do, and all of that. But they kept me over there for like 9 months. Then I ended up being on home monitor. I'm trying to add the months together, right? I was over there 11 months, 13 months on home monitor. It was supposed to be 2 years altogether served for something I didn't do. Now I'm looking at the system. I'm looking at this bull crap. And it started with the 2 officers with the paper and the pen. I said, y'all mother freaky dickies. Because the judge don't know if it's true and the prosecutor don't know. So the thing was near the end, when the judge, when my lawyer was like, this guilty plea thing. And the prosecutor, I said, okay. First I said, no, why am I going to agree to something I didn't do? But he explained it to me to basically let it go, in a sense, right? So I said, okay. But what I'm trying to get to make a long story short, Glow, it was the prosecutor. She said, Mr. Copeland, we know you didn't do this and we know you didn't do that, but she was guilty by association. When she said that, I looked over at her and I wanted to say so bad, so is your boss, so is the mayor, because they all know me, right? I wanted to say it so bad, I was like, I just want to get out of here, right? But look, I looked at how they said, I said, these mother freaky dickies. And then I began to see the system. Just like what you saying, Glow, I apologize. Just like what you saying, Glow, somebody, I'm talking about like a lawyer, somebody that understands your situation a lot better can jump in and help you fight for what you're trying to get done. And that's the whole point of us reaching out to these organizations, family, where you have lawyers. They already get paid to come and help fight for your rights. You know, now in Baltimore City, we know certain people. Now, I'm going to say this because I said it before. My goal was to sue Baltimore City and the Eastern District Police Department for what they did. But like Flo just said, I try to forgive them to let it go. Come on, Flo.
Took over, but my body is hurting and it's shutting down. I got to figure out what's going on.
Go ahead and rest up, Queen.
I have to go to the hospital.
Oh, I hope it's not the diabetes. Glow. Go ahead, and you always welcome, okay? Go ahead, Glow. Phyllis, what's happening, Phyllis?
Not much.
How everything going?
Carmela Anthony, he got a new team. That's all on TikTok. There's so many people still talking about that. They fussing and arguing and this and that. I'm like, this is crazy. You need to look at the video. That's all they be saying. When somebody says something they don't like.
Every time.
Hold on 1 minute.
All right. I told people, if you want to get something to better help you understand what is happening, right? We can send stuff to AI. AI going to feed you basically what's in the system. But when you're dealing with Snoop or Fact Check, you're dealing with human beings that went out and investigated certain things and then put it in the system. That's the difference between AI telling you stuff and learning as much as the facts as you can. That's what I do as a community activist. If I want to know certain things about the community, I will go out and check things out for myself. That's what I did being a part of Communities United. So when I run off in my mouth, I basically know what I'm talking about when I speak on things. That's why I was telling the people on TikTok. But or the people on TikTok, a lot of people just like drama, chaos, and confusion. Because I went on somebody's stuff, shoot, it was early in the morning. I called him my nephew, still. And I went on there. It was Hunter that approached Carmela. Hunter said it. Hunter was the one that explained everything. And his brother stepped up to handle the business. That's what he said. Now check it out. He stepped up to handle the business. But Carmela was the problem. Now you got two guys, brothers, and then 4 more, because it was 6 of them all together. Now I'm not saying he was right. Do not get it wrong. But we can understand why he said something about the knife thing. It was actually to back their butts up off them. And guess what? The defense attorney knew, and he presented that. The prosecutor knew, but he flipped it. I said, this mother sucker. Everything the defense attorney that we're looking at, Phyllis, they seen in court. Everything. But guess what? Still to this day, it's stuck in everybody's mind. Carmela in Austin. Carmela in Austin. I was thrown away when I found out it was the brother that approached him. His brother was there, and he did touch him. He did put his hands on him to handle the business. So what they did, they fixed it where they couldn't share that in the courts. And he went on a talk show for some of y'all. He went on 2 talk shows after the case thing and said it. And I'm gonna tell you this, not being smart, I hate the fact that they listening to me. When I put that information in with AI was justifying the behavior. I said, no, you won't. And I sent something back to AI to tell them, y'all see how you justifying with this, like trying to make this young man out to be the monster, blah, blah, blah. But every time I would say something back to them, because I'm flipping it to what's being seen. And then they'll start justifying certain things. And I started looking at it right now. I'm like, look at this bull crap. Well, we understand, Mr. Copeland, that you looking at it in the natural form. How else can you look at it? But when it comes to the law, now you got to separate it. So we understand, Mr. Copeland, how y'all looking at this. This me and AI. Phyllis, this me and AI. Because when I was asking them questions, and then when I put in there, this is Steve Copeland from the Couch Conversation, the Be More Real Teen Talk. I want to discuss this on my show. Oh, thank you, Mr. Copeland, blah, blah, blah. Now we understand why you asking this and you asking that. Oh, yeah. I'm a community activist, so you know we deal with laws and stuff like that, right? You understand, I'm not as deep as your lawyers, but we understand enough to get our point across. And we will do research on other cases too, similar to this. Because that's what a community organizer do. That's what a community activist do. That's what human rights advocates do. We're going to look for cases that's similar to this. That's what the lawyer does. I'm just saying this, family. Because when I sent that back to AI, they already knew who I was, right? Because when you send something, your information is there. So we understand, Mr. Copeland, why you asking this and what you're saying and how you see things from that perspective. But what I had to back up off, Phyllis, the Texas laws. We know he did what he did, but he couldn't use it as I was defending myself. We know they came to him. They all know that. They all know what their plans was to do with him, but they flipped it, the prosecutor, to make it seem like it was him. Period. Then look at the person that invited them in there. See, y'all like to run off at your mouth. You got to look at everything that's going on. Eddie invited him there. So it wasn't like he was trespassing. The point was he was down in the team. That's what they normally do. It's like when you got two rival teams, somebody gonna say, yeah, blah, 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 blah. You know, you're gonna brag on your team or down that other team. They do that. That's why I pay real close attention to stuff. Who called the Metcalf and told them they came from another side that he was in there, and he was in there down in the team, and he was asked 15 times to leave. So I said, who called them and told them to come and remove him? I don't know, but blah, 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 everybody go everywhere else. Listen to what I just said. They come from another spot. You looking at them walking over to the tent. You're looking and go up in there. You see a little shuffling. And then I even made a statement, right, Phyllis? It was a girl in the yellow. Who was that fell down on the girl in the yellow? So it was shoveling going on. And I'm saying this because when I got that video, I'm looking, I'm like, oh my God. Now all of this was presented by the defense attorney, but everything that was presented, the attorney flipped it, where they couldn't actually use certain things, which did make him look more like the monster because that was his job. I'm telling y'all, and I'm not trying to be smart. I know a lot of us like to start this he say, she say, that said, this said, all of that. I get that. Mainly when you're a bunch of sick individuals. I get that. But when you take the time out, like people like myself, and observe things very, very well, so you can have a talking point, and it's right there. So I'm not saying nothing wrong. I'm saying what was actually the defender. I keep wanting to call him a public defender. His defense attorney presented all of that to defend his client. Now, 9 times out of 10, to be honest, he might have got time anyway. But it's the 35 years. It's the way the prosecutor fixed it with the 3 teachers. Black, couldn't get up there. And I'm going to tell you all this. And I'm going to get ready to shut this down. If, watch this. I want y'all to see this because I'm going to get ready to go over to this right here. If they didn't violate his rights, Why would Russell Wilson II, that's the lead counsel, Michael L. Ward, or Ware, second chair from the Innocent Project, stepped in? Gary Bledsoe, third chair in Texas, NAACP president. Why did they step in? Why don't y'all talk about that? Brooke Claus, and if I pronounce the name wrong, because it's Cluse, she's from Ben Crump office, law firm. So you know they all gonna talk about it, right? Even with Ben Crump. Then you got Sean Dardo, something like that. He's from, well, that's his law firm, Dardo Law Firm. Then you got Justin A. Moore. These are people, if your rights have been violated, even though this guy was dead wrong, and I mean unalived for TikTok's sake, unalived. I don't think it was his intention. That's how a lot of us see it. We don't feel as though it was really his intention to unalive him. It happened. Sad part about it. But it's how they went about it. He was a juvenile for one. But they wanted to charge him with unalive, which took him into the adult system. I'm only saying his family. Because when you do things like we do, being a part of the community and stuff, and you coming up with ways and means and solutions to slow down a lot of the criminal behaviors, violent criminal behaviors, the unalive rate for TikTok's sake, the opioid and the fentanyl epidemic, because you know it's been poured into the marginalized community. It's a poison to wipe them out. But it's not just affecting the melanated people. This is the stuff. I'm with, well, I haven't been with Communities United in a while. So I end up signing up with American Civil Liberty Union. I'm sorry. I met them over the prison. I met the people from American Disability Act when I was over the prison as well. I didn't realize the prisoners have a union too, to fight for their rights behind bars. And it's another organization that fights for the inmates' rights. A lot of y'all didn't know that, did you? Because I didn't know. I didn't know until I got over there and somebody said it. And then the ACLU end up coming in. And when they come in, no guards can be in the room because it's private with you talking with them. And if you have complaints about being treated this way and that way, they supposed to take care of that. And y'all know, once I told them who I was, it was a whole different ball game. The correction officers knew too. I told them, I said, everybody in here ain't here because they committed a crime. Even though that's their first notion. You must have did something wrong. You must have did this. Everybody. I had a commitment over the prison for almost 10 years in the 90s. Coming in there on H&I at the Wide Building. I said, y'all remember when the Wide Building was there? Huh? I used to come in every Friday night at 7 for almost 10 years. My sponsor, Warden Wainwright. Everybody ain't here because they committed a crime. Now, he's not there as warden no more, but I met the woman warden, and I talked with her. See, some of y'all might feel as though Steve just run off in his mouth. But when I say certain things out my mouth, because this is a talk show, I have to make sure I'm coming, I'm gonna say at least with 90 or 80% of facts, because I could still be wrong with certain things from what I'm seeing. But once I'm comfortable enough and I have done research on it to put 2 and 2 together, yeah, I'm gonna speak on it. I'm gonna speak on it. Because I'm no different than y'all. Only thing about it, y'all just listen to other people rather than actually doing the research on certain things for yourself. So that when you open your mouth, you can point them to go to Snoop. Snoop will tell you. Go to Facts Check. Those are the most 2 credible resources, reporters, and journalists. Because it's actually people that's doing the work to put back into the system. Look, I love y'all, and I'm not going to apologize for speaking the way I just did, because I get sick and tired of a lot of the bull crap. And this what me and Marlo was talking about today. I watched the way this man do what he do around Baltimore City. He was one of the people that helped them get that bill passed for criminals to be able to vote. And a lot of our ex-offenders and criminals and stuff that's in Baltimore City don't know they have the right to vote now. I sent out a message for something that they put on Facebook. The reason why a lot of the marginalized people, the people in the poor inner city communities, Black, that don't vote, they don't trust y'all. You have to win their trust and faith in you. Once you come and tell them, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, if I get in, I'm going to done it. That's what you do. Personally, if I believe in you and I vote you in, the goal is for us, the individuals, to come up with the solutions towards y'all policies. You want me to say it again? They're lawmakers. They only create policies. We are the solution. That's why I backed up off of them, as far as being hard on them like I used to be. It's just to work with the people and come up with programs and solutions that the people, if you violate the laws, y'all know what happens, you go to prison. If the laws are restricting you from certain things, the goal is to come up with ways and means for you to overcome it. So you won't violate the laws. That's what people with your nonprofits, with your we, ours, us. And I'm gonna throw them in here too. Like Safe Streets. Everybody ain't in there doing stuff dangerous back in the streets. It's not everybody. But the reason why I could say this, because I come from the streets. And I understand the purpose of them putting their group together. It was actually to reduce the pew rate for TikTok's sake, the gun violence. Okay? That's why we fought to get that plane here to help reduce it. A lot of people came up against Archie and us. We was only trying to help reduce that rate. It's down now from 2017. And the Finney, we had 343 unalives during that time with the pew-pews, the gun. We had about 900 and something with the Finney. It was almost double from the people in Baltimore City. Did y'all know that? So now, for 2025, at the end of the year, it was 133. I didn't believe it at first. But that's what was reported. I love y'all, family. I'm just trying to put out news.
Love you too.
All right, Phyllis. Love you, baby girl. All right, OG.
All right.
OG. All right, bro.
All right. Have a good night.
All righty. All right. Thanks, family.
All right, OG. Have a good one.
You too, Phyllis.
Thank you. Good night.
That was my TikTok that I had to end, and I'm gonna end this too. I don't really mean this, what I'm getting ready to say. It's like, I don't care what y'all think about me and what y'all say about me. My goal is basically trying to help us get Baltimore City in a more healthier place, you get me? That's why I try to deal with organizations like We House Us, Baltimore Peace Movement, other organizations, because this is not a one-person thing. It's not just a one-person thing. And my thing is, we used to blame Brandon Scott. He's the mayor. He's not in the community destroying it. But we'll point fingers right at him. Now, I used to do it. I had to stop because I realized it's the community people, the citizens, that's destroying their own communities. But we'll point at Westmore. We'll point at the mayor. When you know good and well, and I had to see this for myself. It's normally your nieces, your nephews, your children. It's destroying it. But we want to point the finger at them. Like they out there deliberately doing this stuff. I had to stop. Because as a community organizer, being with Communities United, each month we used to have a meeting in the communities. It could be harm reduction in the community of color. It could be safety in the war zone. Then we would have meetings for people that's in the housing program, HUD housing, but they're not being treated fair. Like they're not taking care of the places that they're in. So organizations like Communities United, they fighting for their rights. So we would speak out about that. Then you got the police department, because they felt like the police wasn't actually doing their job. So the goal was to help reduce the police budget. They reduced the budget by, I think, 22 million for that year. But guess what? For that next year, they end up getting it back. AI told me that. But I'm just sharing this with y'all because when you getting involved with your neighborhood association, when you getting involved with the community's activities, right, to come up with programs, ways and means to, help our youth mainly that's running around feeling like they don't have nothing positive to do. You got to create programs. A lot of them can't go from, I'm gonna say, the recreation center on Bentlow, and they living over there past Poplar Grove, and I want to make sure I say it right, Rosedale. They living up that way. They walking into another territory, and a lot of times, the young people in there that don't know them will come for them. That was brought to my attention. So they running the risk of coming from certain areas where they should have a rec center right where they at. To go down to Bentlow. Now they stepping into another territory. And that was brought to my attention, family. And that was years and years ago. I didn't know a lot of that. Why a lot of our youth was actually losing their lives for going into areas or neighborhoods that belong to other people, to them. And they would jump them, take them down, all that. I was like, oh my God. I drove the tractor trailers. I was real quick going in the neighborhood, jumping out the truck, going in the stores. I said, man, I thank God everybody here I come, honey. Because I was a neighbor, because I come from the city. I was like, huh? So I gotta be careful. But I ain't trying to live my life like that. I'm not trying to live my life being afraid. I'm not. Being afraid to, go here or do this and do that. I'm not. Come on. Come on. It's like be more careful. Understand that part. I'm not going to spend my life walking around in fear. When my time to go, it's going to be my time to go. There's nothing I'm going to be able to do. So the goal is to be the best man I can be now. And to sit back and look at myself. I was thinking about this the other day, family. I used to watch the cowboys and Indian movies, right? I know a lot of y'all in the day's time don't know about that. James Cagney and John Wayne and all of them. And they was your superhero. You wanted to be like them. Pow, pow, pow. In the middle of the street. I remember feeling like that. I said, nope. As I began to get older, I said, let me go in my sleep. Something like that, right? I don't want to go out in the streets like going out like that's a winner. I felt like I thought like that at one time. I want to go with my boots on, like John Wayne and them, Clint Eastwood, all of them. Well, Clint Eastwood about 1,000 years old now. Y'all know that's old school. That's old school. The Beverly Hillbillies and all that. The original, that's old school. And to be here 64 years later, a father, a grandfather, sometimes I get blown away. 64. And if you're around my age or a little bit older, you understand what I'm saying? Because I know sometimes you might look at yourself and say, I can't, no, look, I can't believe a day at a time. I can't believe it. From where I came from, I can't believe it. You get it? I love y'all, Baltimore City. I love y'all. Keep praying for me. This is the way I minister back to the people. This is the way I share my experience, my strengths, and my hopes. And praying that it will reach somebody else and give them that sense of empowerment, strength, security. If Mr. Copeland can do this, I can do it. If Mr. Copeland can stop that, I can stop. Just for the day. Because tomorrow ain't promised. Be the best human being you could be. Just for the day. And if God bless you to see tomorrow, be the best human being you can be. Just for the day. Keep going with it. I ain't realized 33 years clean from the drugs, from the alcohol. I abused sex. I abused food. I was a big liar, manipulator, no good. You could not tell me I was wrong. You could say it, but I didn't believe it until I came out of it. So I love y'all. I gotta make my little clips. And then this is the way I wind down, right? Start making my little videos, sending them back out, just for words of encouragement. And then I wind down and be like, it's just the time frame doing the same. This is wind down time. But Baltimore City, I love my city, family. Sometimes I wish I could be on the front line like I used to, but I don't have that energy. This is the way, I communicate and I reach out further. That's why I'm looking at my own broadcast studio where we can do the couch talk and we can do the team talk too. Giving our youth a voice. That's in my heart. Let me look at the time because I do want to put back up what Glo was saying about being homeless and everything. To me, that was really, really inspiring. So I want to send that back out. All right, family. Love y'all. Prayfully, God's will. See y'all tomorrow. Take care.